the website will work first of all. So any website you open, you will see just only the output of the website. You won't see any database, you won't see any front end, and you won't see any back end. Nothing you will be seeing. If I just click onto any of the page, and if I just click onto the contact page, I'll be seeing the contact page over here. So how things will work? So how this particular string is coming, how the designing is coming, how this particular structure is coming into our website. So that thing is come from the front end. So these all the things is just a HTML. So what is HTML? HTML is a hypertext markup language. Hypertext markup language is our HTML file, and CSS, React or Bootstrap or a Pug or JS. These are all the components of our front end. To any website you are building, any of the things you are doing, there is mandatory you need to have a front end. So how front end is created? By using this particular things, the HTML, CSS, JavaScript. By using this particular frameworks, will be using the front end. Okay, that is just for a front end, just for the display. Okay, what is HTML? HTML is a hypertext markup language. If I just open, if I want to see this source code, if I just press Ctrl U, you can see I am seeing the hard-coded data over here. So these are all the hard-coded data is our HTML files. You can see these are HTML links we have, and we have a body, we have a navbar, something and all we have. Okay, this all this hard-coded data. This has been encoded and in the form of a good structure, it is visible into our website. So this is our HTML file. Okay, so HTML is nothing but this is just a skeleton of our HTML. Okay, if suppose whenever you are building any like flat or any building, what you will be doing first you will collect all the components and you will first design a structure. First you design a building, then what you will add, then next comes under what are the colors you want to paint it for the building, so that you will give the colorings to whatever the rooms, which color you want. All those things can be achieved by using a CSS. HTML is just a skeleton. If you take an example of a human body here, HTML is just a skeleton. Okay, where we can just build up a particular website structure. Then next comes to the how the structure. If you want to give any colorings to it, where the eyes should come and how the position should be there, and what should be the size of your hand, what should be the size of your legs, that all things you can be achieved by using a CSS. CSS is nothing but a cast styling sheet. Okay, where you achieve CSS over here. And what is JavaScript? JavaScript is our you can see here what is the thing is happening. The blood is flowing inside our veins. So nothing something it is a process which is works 24 hours. Okay, it will be something will be keep on working. That comes under JavaScript. Okay, that is it is a optional. JavaScript is not mandatory, but by using HTML and CSS you can achieve a good websites over here. Okay, JavaScript is optional. That time you can just achieve all the things by using JavaScript, but presently understand what is HTML is nothing. It is just a structure of a website where we can implement it. What is CSS? CSS is something like where we provide colors to it, where we do the designing, and where we'll provide the positions to our website. That is can be achieved by using CSS. JavaScript is something like a function which works automatically, which works whenever the function is called. Okay, it is optional. Suppose if our heart is there, it will be keep on working. That is just take example of a heart or a blood which is working 24 hours. That comes under JavaScript. Okay, that only I have said here. It is a hypertext markup language, and it is a cascading style sheets where we beautify our HTML pages. And next comes under JavaScript is something like comes under object oriented programming. Okay, where we pass objects and in the Node.js or in any MERN-stack web development, all these things you will be learning over in that particular thing, but it's optional of a JavaScript. Okay, this is the thing. I'll just close this one. Let's come back to the structure, how the website will work. This is all the front end which I have said. Front end is nothing but something what we are seeing, that the hard coded has been encoded into our human seeable thing that we are seeing in our website. That is our front end thing. Next comes under what is the back end. Back end is something like Python. We have there are many frameworks in the back end. First is like not a first, but we have a Python using a Flask, and Node.js, Express.js, Python, Django, PHP, Laravel. These are all our backend technologies. Anyone you can use, and you can use as a backend for this particular website. So this is our backend thing. So in this whole DBMS mini project, we'll be using backend as a Python Flask. So what is Python Flask? Python is, everyone know what is Python. Python is a programming language. Inside a Python, we have a number of frameworks. We have CherryPy, we have Django, we have Flask, and some more we have. Okay, but the number one framework is a Django, and second comes the particular Flask, which we are seeing now, which we'll be learning in this whole session. So Flask we will be using as a Flask as our backend, where we implement our logic inside the backend and we store all the details into one database. Suppose this is a contact page, right? So this is a front end we have achieved by using a HTML and CSS and Bootstrap. Think like that, we have achieved this front end, we have designed this front end by using HTML, CSS and Bootstrap. Suppose anyone tried to contact us, if you just fill the name, if they fill email, subject and all the things, if I just click on to the send message, we need to store the data. We need to store the data inside our database. So how we can store that one? In this particular place where the backend will come into the picture. So backend, what it will do, we need to write a logic for it. Before, once the form is just getting submitted, we need to tell our backend stuff whether this form is submitted in the form of a GET request or a POST request. When GET request comes, what I need to do. When POST request comes, what I need to do. That we will be specifying into our backend. Whichever the language or whichever the framework you will use, same things will implement into all the frameworks. But we are using a Flask Python framework. We write the logic over there. When the form is get submitted, what all the things should happen. That thing will be writing by using a Python programming language. Okay, where we collect our data. Fine, we have collected the data into the backend. Now comes under where I need to store all the data. Where I need to store the data of this particular form. That data, that the next things come, which database we are using it. There are so many databases. We have MongoDB, we have SQLite, we have MySQL, we have PostgreSQL. These are all the database. Each database have its own stuff. In the MongoDB, we'll use as a object, since SQLite also a file structure, and MySQL is also acts like an object filtering, and PostgreSQL is all the database. So for your DBMS project, we will be using this MySQL database. Okay, I'll tell you how all the things will work. Just it is an introduction part, I'm just telling you. So where after the form is getting submitted, we wrote the logic by using any of the framework. Then after that, we need to store the data. That data will be storing in any of these databases things. So then the process is done. So these are the front end works and the back end and the database works. These all the things will happen into our back end. And this is the optional domain hosting and marketing. That is it is optional. I'll just tell you small thing. What is marketing? Once the website is done, we'll be marketing our websites. So how the marketing will be using SEO tools, social media, Google Ads. These are all the marketing stuffs. This next, and after, and one more thing, the website, whichever the things or websites or any software development will be implementing, first we will be developing into our local host. So that local host will be designing these all the things. After everything is done, then we comes into the domain and hosting part, where for suppose here we have hosted this website using airobotica.in website. So that comes after the domain and this hosting, and is all the hosting stuff we have. Okay, these all the perfectly the websites will work. Okay, next come to this particular stuff where we are learning. So I will open this one more document. So what are the day one today, what all the things will be working. So I said you what is the JavaScript and all, how the JavaScript works, and what is HTML, what is CSS, front end. I have said you how the front end will work. Just I have said you the introduction part. We'll work with the coding part too. Next, and I said what is the backend we will be using. We'll be using a backend as a Python, and the framework, which framework we are using inside the Python is Flask. Okay, this is also done. Then next, which database we are using it. We are using a database MySQL. Inside the MySQL, we have inside this Python, we are in the Flask, we have one module library called as SQL Alchemy. So this allows us to connect with our DBMS project with to the MySQL by using this particular library, SQL Alchemy. Okay, we'll be seeing all the things, how all the things will work. So it's a front end and back end is our Python. If anyone's ask you what what kind of project, what you are using as a front end, and what is a back end, and what is a database, this is the three questions basically everyone will ask. Okay, inside your when you are showing the projects to your instructor and all. So you should be able to tell, yeah, front end we are using as HTML, CSS and the Bootstrap stuff, and back end we are using as a Python. In the Python that is a framework is a Flask, and database we are obviously it is mandatory we need to use MySQL. Okay, SQL thing. So it is a database, and is a backend is a Python, Flask, and front end is these all the things. So these we'll be seeing all the stuff over here. So when we work on into the project. Okay, so understood. So today, before starting directly with the Flask, you need to be familiar with some of the basics of Python. Okay, like suppose I'll tell you. See, this is the basics of Python which we'll be learning. So first I'll teach what is how the strings will work, what is list, what is the inputs, how to take inputs from the user, and what is tuple, and what is the tuple, and what is the dictionaries, what are the sets, and how the if-else statements will work into our Python, and how the looping systems works, and what is the functions into our Python. Don't think it is a very easy thing. Okay, it is not like a C language, or it is not like a Java. So where we need to import the stuff, and we need to worry about the semicolon, we need to worry about the braces and all. Okay, it is not a thing. It is very straight and forward. Even if you just see the code from your own side, you will understand what is the code, how the what is code is over there. Okay, now one thing comes now. Okay, fine, you have said this is a front end, will be using this, and the back end this, and the database is this one. What are the things to be installed comes first, right? So how where you will be writing this, and where I will be writing this, how the database is coming. So we'll be creating database, or we'll be using any servers, so which are there into our Google. So that comes to next, right? So first I'll tell what are the installations to be done for the Python. Just for the Python I'll just tell. So when it comes to under the Flask, we'll be telling what are the things to be installed. So we'll just close this one, and I'll just close this, and yeah. So I'll just tell. So we'll be seeing the basics of Python today. So we'll be trying to cover all the stuff. So from tomorrow we can directly start with the perfect project structure. Okay, first we'll create a schema diagram. We'll see how the schema will work. So we'll create a schema structure. Then according to that particular structure, we'll design a project. Okay, so I have done today this one. So if I just type in it, it will just take a more time. So I have done this like this. Okay, so let's come to the basics of Python. How to start the basics of Python. So if I just open a Google, so we need to have a Python IDE. So we need to download a Python IDE. I'll just tell download Python. Okay, if I just click on to the download Python into the Google, I'll be getting this one, download python.org downloads. Okay, just whichever the latest is now, Python 3.9.0. We have a latest one. Just click on to this. It will automatically it will just download over here. Okay, you can see it has been launched at October 5th 2020, the Python 3.9. Okay, just you can click here, or you can just click from here, just download it. Okay, I have already downloaded. I don't want, if I just download it will take more time. So already I have downloaded, I have installed. I will tell you how to install and all. Next, I have downloaded the Python. Suppose I have downloaded the Python. Now if I just click on, if I just open the file particular thing, what it will come here is normal installation. There is no rocket science in that. So everyone are familiar how to do any installations and all. Suppose if I tell you to, if I just tell you to download a WhatsApp over here, you will just download and you will install into your laptops. Normal installation, same as it is for the Python. But one thing I'll tell you, but that is a very much important thing. If I just tell here download Python path, something like it will just I'll just tell like that. So I want to see the images of it. So see. So at the time of installation, you'll be getting something like this page. So if I just open this one, it is not okay. I'll just open into a new tab. So you can see here, whenever you are after downloading Python, when you click on to the install, you will be getting something like this page. It might be a Python install Python 3.7.4 or 3.9, which is the latest one. It may be 64-bit or it might be 32-bit. Depends upon your system. You need to download it. Okay. Before clicking onto the install, this is very much important point. Okay. So once again, this is very important point. Okay. If you lose this one, some errors will may get later. So for that purpose, I am telling you. At the time of installation, you will be getting something like this page, Python for Windows or Mac or anything. At the time, what you need to do here is, you can see here installer launch for all user is recommended. That is automatically it has enabled. So here something is there, add Python 3.7 to the path, or it might be add Python 3.9 to the path. You need to enable this checkbox. Just click on to this checkbox. Once the right click mark is shown, after that you need to click on to the install now. Okay, before clicking onto the install now, you need to see whether the Python 3.7 is added to the path or not. Okay, if you are not done, if it's not done, you will be getting the errors over there. Okay, done. So just click onto the install now. After enabling these two things, click onto the install now stuff. Then automatically normal procedure. So just click onto the next and install. So once the installation is done, so it will be installed into your laptops. If I just come to the command prompt after the installation, just click onto the command prompt. Just open the command prompt. So here first enter Python. So we are checking whether it has installed or not after installation. If I click onto the Python, you can see So in this thing, my version is Python 3.8. Okay, it might be latest. You can download the latest version also, no problem. So we just click on the Python. You need to get something like this terminal. Suppose I can just perform any operation. If I just tell print, my name here, if I enter, you can see I'm getting a output properly. Okay, just check whether this is working or not after the installation. Just a test. If I just press Control C, keyboard interrupt, Control Z, I guess, Control Z, and just click on to the enter, you will be out of the terminal. So once it is done, so once you have done this one, just after the thing is done, yeah, you have installed the Python. Yeah, I have installed the Python. Then we cannot write the program into everything inside the command prompt, right? If one line program, all we can write it over here. You can just tell I can activate my Python terminal here. I have activated my Python terminal. I cannot write more of the program over here. So if I just write here print, I can do, if I just tell a is equal to 2, and if I tell b, c is equal to 4, and I will tell b is equal to a plus b is equal to a plus c I have given, and if I just tell b, you can see I am getting a output. Okay, I can write a small programs over here. I can see the outputs from here itself. And comes under the, if you have 100 lines, if you have 200, it is very difficult to see the program. It is very difficult to write inside the terminal. So what we are doing here is we will download one editor. So where we will run our Python programs into the editor. So that editors will be using in this course is Visual Studio Code. Okay, Visual Studio Code will be using as an editor to run our Python program, as well as our DBMS mini project will be using a editor as which one? Visual Studio Code. Okay, so this is Python is a IDE, and Visual Studio Code is a editor where you will attach the Python, then you will just run the program. That is our Visual Studio Code. I just close this one. So I'll just close the Python. I hope everyone would have understood. Just you need to download the Python, then you need to enable those two checkboxes which I have shown in normal installation. Once done, check whether the Python is working or not. If it works, fine. 100% it will work. Okay, just click on the close the command prompt. Now we need to run our Python program. So for running, we need to write a programs. To run the programs, we need to have one editor. So that editor will be using as from the Microsoft. We have the VS Code. Just tell VS Code download. Okay, if I just enter VS Code download, you can see here download Visual Studio Code for Mac, Linux, and Windows I have here. If I just open this one, so once you have done open here, you can see here we have for Mac, we have for Linux, we have for Windows. So maximum will be using for, if I just normal installation even here, just click onto the Windows. If I have downloaded, just download, click onto here. If I just click onto this one, so you can see automatically it will download. So you can see it is starting. So I'll just cancel it. So it is a 60 MB of them. After then, just normal installation over here. Okay, there is no rocket science even that, just normal installation. Just open that, click onto the OK, click next, and install it. Okay, that is a thing. Then after that, once you have installed, I'll just come here and okay. So once I have installed this Visual Studio Code, after downloading I have installed. Once I have installed the Visual Studio Code, next what I need to do. So after now we are learning the Python basics, right? So for the two things we need, first thing we need as a Python IDE, then we need to have Visual Studio Code. So the Visual Studio Code will be looking like this. You can see the Visual Studio Code. I'll just open this Visual Studio Code. Okay. So once I have one, I'll just close all the files here. Okay. So you can see this is our Visual Studio Code. So once you have opened it freshly, you will be getting like this screen. So this is a screen where we will write our code. Everything will be doing from here itself. It is a very beautiful IDE. I love it. I make all the projects by using this particular Visual Studio Code itself, where it provides me all the features like and it provide me the beautiful extensions, and it will provide me the many suggestions like that. Okay. So if I open here, you can see I had nothing over here. So what I will do here is, first I will create any of the folder inside my E drive or AF drive. I'll just create a new folder. I'll just tell Python basics. Okay. So this is a folder. Python basics is my folder. I'll just drag this particular file. I'll just click here. I'll just add it over here. Okay, now I can do like this also. Okay, it is also very easiest thing. And one more thing, I can just right click and I can just open with the code. Even this particular folder will open inside my Visual Studio Code. There are a number of ways to open a folder inside the Visual Studio Code. So once I have this is my Visual Studio Code. I want to, this is a theme I have used as like that. So once again, someone is joining. So I think this particular theme is okay for you. There are so many themes. Okay, I have installed this Cobalt too, or else I can use a dark theme also. I can use this dark theme. I have materialized so many things. We have this one. Okay, even this is also good. So anything whichever you like, you can just do. I will be using this dark theme, so the things should be visible to you guys. Okay, I'll be using this dark mode. And so this is after installation, you will open the Visual Studio Code. If you are not able to drag and find, just click onto the open folder. It will look onto your any of the drive, whichever folder you want, you can just open with here. Okay, so just click here, and if I just select folder, this particular folder will open inside the Visual Studio Code. Or else simple you do create a folder, any folder, just drag that one and drop it over here. It will just open it here. Now here, let's start with the Python. Here I have something like this is our screen of the Visual Studio Code editor. I'll just click on to the new file. It is a for the new folder. It is for the refresh other things. Now I want to create a one Python file. So how to create a Python file? I'll just click on to this new file. I will tell this is my main. I'll just tell main dot py. Okay, this extension is a very important. If you give .html, the file will be your HTML file. If you give .css, that will be your CSS file. If you give .js, it will be your JavaScript. If you give .c, it will be C program, like that. Now, for Python, we'll be using last thing as extension as a .py. Okay, main is my file name. .py is the extension. That is nothing but this is my Python file. Okay, I can zoom. I can zoom out over here. And little bit I will zoom it down. Now I have configured as a main.py file. You can see automatically our Visual Studio Code is so smart that it automatically will load the Python extensions. You can see here Python extensions loading, and it has taken as this particular file as a Python. You can see it has, among this all, it automatically it has like understood like yeah, it is a Python file. How it have understood? It is just saying last dot of the extension it is there. It is just automatically loading the Python stuff. So first we'll write, first we'll print the stuff in our Python program. So for the printing, we'll be using print function. Normally everyone know in the C program we have a printf. In the Java we have SOP, that is the system.out.println. In the Java we have, sorry, in the Python we have just print. I'll just tell print. I can just tell welcome to Python. Okay. So once I have done, I can just run this particular program. I can see here a small run Python terminal. If I just click onto this run terminal, you can see here. Okay, if I just click onto the run, you can see I am getting this particular main.py file has been run there. You can see the output inside the terminal here. So welcome to the Python. So this is our first program we have written inside our Python. So this is how we can print the stuff inside our program. Even we can use single quotes. We have used as a double quotes. Even you can use a single quote. I have enabled Control D as a duplication of the line. So if I just press Control D, I am getting here like this. I just print again in the single quotes. If I run it, you can see I am getting 2 times. Print welcome to Python, again welcome to Python. That means even in double quotes it is printing, even in the single quotes it is printing. I want to answer from you guys. Suppose if I print like this, hello world, 1 2 3. Okay, suppose if I run the function, whether the hello world will print or I'll be getting the error. I want to answer from you guys. Just first, if I run the program, whether the hello world will print or not. Okay, what first? Yeah, good. It will print. If I just click on here, you can see hello world also printing. Why you are raising here is whenever I am printing like this, if I a number of length, if I just click onto that run, you can see how I am specifying all the stuff, it is just printing like that. This thing same I cannot do with this. I cannot do it like this. I cannot do it like this in the single quotes or a double quote, because I will be getting the error. If I run here, you can say I'm getting an error because I'm not following the syntax of the Python. Okay, so for that purpose, when that comes into the picture, we can use this 3 double quotes. Okay, and I'll just control Z. Okay, these all things. I'll just comment this particular stuff. So I'll be giving this particular code file to you. I'll just comment this one, or else I'll just keep it like this as it is. Okay, fine. Next comes to the what other things are available in the Python. We have strings, we have a float, and what we have the integers. So these are all 3 things is basics in all the programming languages. We have integers, we have the strings, and we have a floating point stuff. So if I directly, and in this Python we are not supposed to give the particular type of an variable. So what is variable and what is the stuff here? So if I just tell a is equal to 10, and I'll just tell b is equal to 12.77. if I tell c is equal to dbms, now I can directly here I can directly print the stuff. So I will tell print, I can print a comma, I want to print b, and what I want to print c. If I just run this program, you can see I am getting here 10, 12.77 and dbms. So how I am getting, see, automatically the Python will detect, yeah, it is a is an integer and it has printed the integer, and b is a floating point, and c is a string. Automatically it will detect, where in the C language and all, we need to first initialize the variable. Then we need to tell what is the type of the variable. Suppose int a, then int a is equal to number or anything. First we need to initialize, then we need to declare, then we need to print it. Here there is no concept of like that. Directly we can implement it directly. We can directly assign the value into a variable. So what is a variable in this one? A is a variable, b is a variable, and c is also a variable. And what are the right hand thing is something like which you are defining it. Suppose now I want to see the type of it. I'll just tell print type of a. Same as it is. I want to print type of b. Then I want to see the print type of c. I want to see the type. What is the a type and what is the b and what is the c type. If I just run this program again, you can see I'm getting a is a class int. So it is automatically it is finding that yeah, a is a integer, and b is a floating point integer, and c is a str, class str. Str is nothing but a string. So this is how we can just see the type of a variables. Next, I'll just make one more file here. I'll just tell what I can tell here. Next, I'll just tell strings.py file. So this is strings.py file. I will just delete the first terminal. Now I'll just write second thing. I'll just tell what are the strings and over here. Suppose we want to take the input from the user. How we can take the input from the user and how we can print it. I'll tell a is equal to input. I'll just tell enter your name. Okay, then I'll tell b enter your age. So I'll take two inputs from the user. Then I'll tell print a comma b. So if I run this program, what it will ask here is, you can see here it is asking me enter your name. I'll just tell enter your name, my name I'll give, enter your age, I'll give some 100. So it is just directly I am getting the output. You can see a and b. This is how we can take the input from the user. You can see here it has merged here. To get that one in the new line, I'll just tell /n and I'll just give here /n. Now if I enter, you can see it is getting inside the new line. I'll just tell my name, I'll tell some age. You can see I'm getting my name and the age is 100. So whether default, what is the default type it is taking? What is the default type it is taking? Now, okay, fine, let it be. Now if I just print the type of a, let me see what is the default type it is taking. So it is a string, or whether it is a float, whether it is a string. I think whether it is a float. I think the one who are familiar with, they will be knowing this answer. If I just tell something a, sorry, here I need to type. I'll tell a and enter your age. I'll just tell a. You can see a and a I'm getting. Even I have passed date is taking the thing, but what is the type? Default type it is taking. The default it is taking as a string. Okay, so this thing you need to understand. The default input it will take as a string. Okay, so next, how to suppose I want to add a two numbers. I cannot do with this. I cannot do with this. I can just see if I give a plus b here. I'll just enter. I'll just tell 1. So over here. So if I just tell 1, so I can see I'm not getting the perfect output over here. I'll just tell like this. I'll just tell c is equal to a plus b. Suppose I'm adding a two numbers. So if I want to print the c, if I run here, enter here something, I'm giving the number. Okay, 12 and 12. You can see I'm not getting the output as a 24. I have entered a 12 as a one input and second input as a 12. I'm not getting the output. Why? Because it is a string. Python won't be knowing, it won't be understanding like how I can add the two strings. So whenever you add the two string, it will append it. So 1 2 1 2 append is nothing but after the first variable stuff, it will add the whichever you are adding the second variable thing, it will just append it. Okay, so 1 2 1 2 it is giving me the output. So why? Because it is a string. Python don't know how to do that one. So if we need to tell explicitly that it is a type of integer and it is a type of integer again. So I'll just remove this one here and I'll just tell print a comma b. Okay, I'll just comment it out. I'll just save it. If I just comment, control and slash is a shortcut to comment out the output. When I run this program, it will just neglect all the things. Whatever the stuff is there inside your comment thing, it will neglect it. Okay, that is the comment, control slash. Next. Now suppose I want to add two numbers over here. I'll just tell a is equal to, I'll tell int of input. Okay, now it will accept the input. It will take the input and it will convert into the integer. I'll just tell enter the number, enter int here, enter first number, and I'll just tell b, enter the last number. Let's see last number. Then whatever the thing is there, I'll just tell add it into a variable c. I'll just add the stuff and I'll just tell print the value of c, and I'll just take into the new line, and even this thing I'll just take into the new line. I'll just save it. Now if I run, you can see it is asking me the first number here in the output. I'll just tell 100. I'll just tell second number is my 200. You can see the output I'm getting as a 300. Okay, now it have in the previous thing we have just mentioned as an input. In the next we have said that it is an integer. Then it is taking a perfect output here as a 200 and it is a 300. It is just printing it. Okay, perfectly. So even we can do for the same float. So this thing you can just try by own. I'll just comment these two things. Next. So we can see this is the concepts of a string. Anyways, I'll tell some few stuff. What is the string? So I can just tell something. I'll just tell this is DBMS session. Okay, I can just tell like that. If I just tell print the length of the string. If I want to print the length of the string, I need to just tell len, open the bracket. I need to pass the variable. For which variable stuff you want to find the length. I'll just pass a here. If I run it, you can see I'm getting the length of a string is 20. So you can see it is the length of the whatever the length is there, it is just giving me. Again, if you want to print something like print, now I want to convert the stuff into the upper character. So how I can do that one? I'll just tell whatever the say is there, just make it into the upper character. Okay, I'll just tell upper. Run this program. You can see it is in the small letters. All the stuff has been converted into capital letters. So this is a upper character. Even same thing we have for a lower, LOWER, lower. So obviously it is in the lower character itself. It will give the output same as it is. If the T is a capital, I just save it. If I run, you can see T has been converted into the small letter here when it is printing it. Okay, now this is there, and I can tell one more thing, print. So I'll just tell if a, whatever the a variable is there, it ends with. So I need to, what is ends with? It is when ends with session. So you can see it is a straightforward. Even a normal human can understand. Ends is what you mean? Yeah, some sentence is there. Whether that particular sentence is ends with this session or not. It will give the boolean value, true or false. It is true, it is giving me the true. If I tell something here ABC, it will give me the false here. You can see the output, it is giving me the false. Okay. Same thing if you want to do into the C language or Java, there is a lot of headache over there. We need to tell all the we need to create all the functions and all. So here it is not magic, it is not any magic over happening over here. When I am using a len here, already predefined, so in the Python, the predefinedly they have written a function for it. Already they have written a function for the len. So where whatever the stuff is where it will just in that particular program what it will be there. How to find the length of the string they have written into the this particular len particular what you call as something you can call as a library like that. So already they have written a program. So say that program we are using as a shortcut over here. Even when I am doing as a ends with here, there is not a normal ends with is not coming automatic. For this ends with also they have written a program into the Python where it will validate the particular sentence according to that particular syntax, then it will give the result. Okay, same way. So we have a lot of inbuilt modules inside the Python which makes us easy to code. Okay, next thing, so we have so many things. We have a capital S, we have over, we have to replace and all. If I want to replace the something type, if I just tell print, I'll just tell whatever the I want to replace is. So a dot I want to replace a dot replace. I want to replace this is DBMS. I want to replace the DBMS with Python. Python. So let's run it. You can see I'll be getting output as a this is a Python session. What it is doing? First argument is taking the particular word of the particular sentence. Then it is what I need to replace with. I want to replace DBMS with Python. So it is replacing, and whatever the output is there, it is just printing it over here. Okay. So these are the things is working it here. So this is about the, and I'll just there are a number of concepts slicing and all. You can just if I want to reverse the string, I'll just tell you one slicing concept. So if I want to reverse the string, I'll just tell print a. So for the slicing we have two things. This is starts and this is starts with and this is end, and one more thing is there that is optional. So sorry, if I want to reverse the string, there is 2 colon we need to give, and here third argument is -1. I can give like this -1. If I just run this one, you can see whatever the sentence is there, it is just reversed. You can see noise smdb si shit I got like that. Okay, so for reversing a string we can use this particular functionalities. So I'll just tell you one more thing. Print a. I want to start the stuff from 1, then I want to end till 8 characters. If I enter, you can see I'm getting his is. I'm getting output as his is and is is. What it is doing basically, it is telling, it is skipping the first one. First line it is just skipping it, first word. It is starting from here till here, it will count till 8. Okay, till 8 it will count. 8 is nothing but 8 minus 1. Okay, suppose 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So 8 is still the space, even the spaces are included till it's from 1 to 8 is this, and it is not giving me the space here. You can see it is not there. If I just see here, till here it is not visible, but the space has not printed over here. Okay, when I am specifying 8 here, it is mean 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. 8 minus 1, that is 7. Till 7 it will take. When I print as a 1, it will start from 0th index, 0 1. So 1 is nothing but h. So from h it is giving me the output. Okay, I hope you have understood how the strings works in the Python. So same thing, I'll just create one more file here. I'll just delete this terminal. I'll just create one more file. I'll just tell list b.p1, something I'm giving for the list. Now you want to see the how the list will work. So list is something normal way. There's nothing in the list. Someplace if I want to specify any stuff into the list, I'll just tell my list. This is my list. I'll just tell. So whatever the stuff you are specifying into the list, that should be inside the bracket. So what we call as this is a square bracket. Okay, so that whatever the stuff will be inside the square brackets, that will be recognized as a list. Suppose I want to give here something as I have a grocery, I have a rice, then I have a dal. Okay, then what we have? We have a oil. Okay, something 3 items we have inside my list. If I print the list, print my list. I want to print the my list. So if I just print it, so I can see it is giving me the output in the form of a list. Okay, and if I see the print, the type of a list, what is the type of this one? Type of my list. And my list, if I open here, if I run here, you can see I'm getting it is a type, it is a class list, because the type is a particular, the type of this particular class is a list. Okay, suppose I want to extract the numbering, I want to extract the dal now. I can just print directly. It will provide us the indexing stuff. My list of 1. If I just tell my list of 1, I am getting dal. So why I'm not getting rice? Because in the list it will start from the 0th index. It is a 0 and this is a 1 and this is a 2, like that. And if I just press like that, if I want to print 0 here, I want to print it second index. If I run it, you can say I'm getting the values of it 1, 0, 2. So dal is at the 1 and 0 is nothing but our rice. Rice has been print and oil is inside our second index. Even the oil has been print. Okay, even same thing work for the numbering systems also. Now here I can reverse the stuff over here. I'll just tell again my list 2, my list 2 is equal to, I'll give the some numbers here 0, 5, 1, 3, 4, 9, 7. Okay, some numbers I have given here. So I want to reverse the list. How I can reverse the stuff? I can just tell whatever the my list is there, just reverse it. I'll just tell reverse. We have so many easiest functions over here. I'll just call the reverse function. Automatically whatever the thing is there, so it is returning none. Why it is returning none? So I think I need to store into a variable. I'll just tell a is equal to my list 2 dot reverse. Then I will print the a value here. So whatever the value I'm getting in the a, just I am passing over here. So you will be wondering what so easy is all the stuff. Why I'm not getting. So if I just run it, so I can see why I'm not getting the output. Prints number. If I just first I will just print it. Let me see. Print my list 2. Okay, I'll just delete the terminals. I'll just run the program once again. So I can say I'm getting the value 05137, but my reverse function is not working. Okay, fine. I think something will be the stuff. I think this function is not there, I guess. So fine. So this is the stuff how to print the numbers, my list. So even it is same for the strings as well as it is same for the integers as well. Even we have a slicing concepts over here. So even I can print with the particular slicing. I want to print what I need to print. I need to print the my list 2. I need to start from the 0th index, then I need to end with the 5th index. So if I just run this one, you can see I'm getting output 0, 1, 2. I'm getting till 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Till 4 I'm getting the output. So I can just provide the indexing. I want to print from here to here. Even I can print from 3 to 5. So you can see if I just print to 3 to 5, it is taking the 30. It is taking in the form of an index 0, 1, 2, 3. So 3 is at the third index. We have 3 here itself. So it is starting from the 3 and it is ending from the 5. So 5 is nothing but 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see I'm getting the output as a 4. We have a slicing concept even inside our list. If I want to reverse the if I want to reverse the list, so I'll just tell third argument I'll provide. One more, I'll just give it the -1. If I run, you can see whatever the list values are there, items, it has been printed into the reverse manner. Suppose if I want to add some number, I want to add print. I'll just tell like that. I want to append something. I'll just tell my list.to. I want to append. I want to add a number. If I want to add 15, okay, then I'll print my list. Print my list 2. If I enter, you can see whatever the stuff is there, whatever the number I have added as a 15, it has appended into the end of the list. Now my list has been changed. The 15 has been added to the end of the list. There are so many number of functions we have. You can just try with any of the any inbuilt functions. You can just try with that. So I'm just giving you the basics idea over here. So list has been done and strings has been done. Now let's do some things with the tuple. What is tuple and all? So I'll just click on the new line. I'll just tell tube.py. So this will be the tuples. So I'll just tell the comment line. This is the tuples. So tuples is something like which we cannot change it. I want to give some values 1, 2, 3. I have given the 3 values here. So you can see tuples we are adding inside in the form of a bracket, braces. Okay. So list is a square bracket, tuple is a normally braces. So if I just print print the type of TP. So it will be giving you the output as a, you can see it is a class tuple. So it is basically a class tuple. Why we are using, when we have list, why we want to use a tuple? That is the question. Tuple is something like it is cannot be changed. It is a immutable. List or mutable. Mutable in the sense can change the list, but immutable is cannot change the any of the items. Suppose I will tell here I want to change TP of, I want to change the first index, that means 2. I want to change it to something 5. Then I want to print the new tuple whichever I have changed. It will be giving me the error. If I just run this program, you can see it is telling me tuple object does not support the item assignment. So assignment is nothing but something you cannot assign any value to it. Whatever the value you have first you have defined, that will be the final value. You cannot add, you cannot it doesn't support the assignment operator. You cannot change once you have defined. So that will be called as a tuple over here. This concepts you can use later. So next comes under the dictionaries. I'll just tell dictionary. I'm going a little bit fast. So I want to complete all the stuff, so I'm going fast. You can see the later recordings also. You can just try it in your laptops. Just see what all the things will work. So next comes under the dictionaries. So dictionary is something like if I tell D1 is equal to, so dictionaries takes two things. One thing it will take as a value and a key. Okay, values and the keys it will just takes. So what is the key? So whatever the left hand side will be there, that will be the key, and right hand side will be the value. If I just tell what I can tell, if I want to something like something, I'll just give a random book, and so book I'll just tell some book name. I'll just tell what any book name do you know. So I'll just tell something like book 1. Okay, I don't know any book names. I'll just tell books is a book 1. Then I'll add one more stuff over here. I want to add something like I can add here itself, no problem. I want to add pens, books. Okay, I'll just tell book 1. So pens I'll just tell okay, I don't want to take this example. I'll just tell Rohan. I'll tell something like he likes pizza. Okay, and after Rohan I can just tell Mohan, something like that. I'll just tell he likes burger. Okay, now if I just print it, I want to print the D1. So obviously everything will be getting into the print. You can see Rohan likes pizza and Mohan likes burger. Mohan he likes burger. Everything is coming. So this is a key and this is the value. We can print the keys. When we want to print the keys, we can print in the form of a keys. And if we want to print the objects, whatever the value of these keys, we can print. So this is a concept where we'll be using into our DBMS. So we'll be seeing later how I'll be using the dictionaries into our DBMS stuff, and how I will pass the values into our HTML files. You can see over there. Okay, so here if I want to print the type of D1, so obviously type of D1 is a dictionary, class dictionary. If I want to print the D1 dot, I want to print the keys over here. I want to print the keys. So just I want the keys. Then I want to print the values also. I want to print D1 dot items. So if I just run this program, we can see I'm getting all the value. It is telling me the class dictionary, and whatever the dict keys. Keys is nothing but Rohan and Mohan is the keys over here. Two keys. What are the values of these keys? You can see here Rohan values is getting like this in the form of a tuple. I am getting it here in the list in the tuple. You can see I am getting all the items. Rohan he likes pizza and he likes burger. Okay, even I can update the dictionaries whenever I want. I can update the dictionary. I will tell I want to update. I will just tell D1 dot update. I will tell I want to update one more person. I will tell Soumya, something like that. I'll just tell she likes chocolates. So if I just run this one, you can see it has, I need to print it, right? I need to print the D1. So it has updated. If I run this program, you can see it is not duplicating also. Rohan came was the second I have added. If I want to update it, I will be using an update function. You can see it has updated all the values. Soumya, she likes chocolates. It has been updated. So this also comes under the dictionaries. Okay, I have said let me see what all the things are left here. You can see strings done, list, inputs, how to take the inputs, tuple, dictionaries, and I'll tell you how the sets will work. Sets is very simple. Nothing is there inside the sets. I'll just tell sets.py. So it is sets here. Suppose s is equal to, let's initialize with the set set. Okay, s has been initialized to the set now. Now if I just tell, after initializing I will add all the stuff. So I'll tell 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now if I want to print the type of s, it will be the, obviously I'll be getting a set. Then if I want to print the item of s, if I run this one, you can see it is telling me the class list. Okay, it is telling me the class list. Okay, I have initialized to this one, right? So it is telling me the stuff. If I want to initialize directly, okay, I'll just convert it now. I'll tell one more t, I'll just tell convert into the set. Whatever the list you have, just convert to the set, then print the d value. Okay, I want to print the d value here. If I run it, you can see I'm getting output. It is a class set, and the whatever the value it is coming into the flower brackets. So why is we will be using this concepts of set? When we don't want to duplicate all the stuff, we can use this particular. You can do the union operators. We can do all the stuff. Even you can do union. We can do intersection and all. So how to do one? I'll just show you. I'll just tell a is equal to. I can tell s1. I can just add the stuff over like that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right inside the yes variable. So now I'll tell one more s1 is equal to, I want to do union operation with this d, whatever the value I have in the d, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I want to do the union operation. So union, everyone know what is union. Union is something, a1 if you have some variable, a2 you have something variables, all the items, when you combine with the union, all the stuff will be getting inside your output. I'll just tell, in the union, I want to print, I want to attach still stuff, I want to add 6, 7, 8, 9. Even I will attach 4, 5 also. Where is it? 4, 5, comma. Now if I run, if I just print this s1 here, Control X. If I want to print the s1, if I run, you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inside my s1, and type is nothing but it is a class set. When I print, I am getting the values like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then what I did again, s1 d dot, I am just attaching 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Already we have 4, 5. Even though I have attached the values 4, 5, 6, you can say I am getting your output as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It is not duplicating the stuff over here. Now even I can just do one more stuff. Even this is a union operation. So you know intersection also. So same thing we can do the s2. I will give as d dot intersection with, I want to do the intersection of 1, 2. Now if I just print s2, if I run, you can see I am getting intersection 1, 2. I am doing intersection. Intersection is something like whichever the values will match, only the values it will take. 1, 2 is there here, and even 1, 2 is there into the yes, that is the dictionaries, in the set. So only the intersection which is matching, it is just taking that value and it is just printing over here. So this comes under the sets. So this is a small basics enough for going with the Flask. So these are strings done, tuples done, main, sets, list, dictionaries, all the stuff has been completed. So we have completed this stuff, and I'll just tell I have done this one. Strings has been done, and list also done, and even the inputs also has been completed. Then tuples also done, even the dictionaries and the sets has been done. Okay, we have done this stuff, and we have completed I have said you how the things will work Python in the front end as well as in the back end, and what are the database, how it works. We'll be seeing very soon how all the things will work in the coming classes. Like and share this video, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon for such more videos. Stay safe, happy learning, and I will see you in my next video.